What's good, YouTube? Vision here, and today we're going to be talking about some new Roblox Jailbreak update news that we got. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as we're currently on the road to 10,000 subs. And once we reach 10,000 subs, I will be doing a giveaway in my Discord server. If you guys are interested in joining my Discord server, you guys can do so with the link in the description down below. And I'll also be hosting an additional giveaway in my Discord server once we reach 500 members. We're currently less than 100 members away, so be sure to join up if you guys are interested in that giveaway. And yeah, my usual yap out the way, let's go and get straight into this update news that we got. Coming up first, as you guys see right here, Asimo basically dropped the Hyperchrome odds. He finally made them public to the entire Jailbreak community. So now if you guys were wondering what the exact chances are of getting a Hyperchrome for each level, so here you have for level 1, basically 1 in every 179 robberies you'll basically get the level 1 Hyperchrome. Level 2, every 1 out of 378. Level 3, every 1 out of 608. Level 4, every 1 out of 696. And level 5, every 1 out of 1068. So the odds obviously get harder and harder the higher level Hyperchrome you're getting. As you get down here for the level 5 Hyperchrome, you literally have less than a 0.10% chance of even pulling the Hyperchrome. So level 5 takes the most amount of grinding, which is why when I pulled my level 5 diamond on 11%, I was very surprised, because that's pretty much like not even halfway to, you know, getting the 1068 total robbery. So basically, if you guys aren't understanding what I'm saying, is if you are trying to get a level 1, for example, and you don't get the level 1, but you're on your 178th robbery, by the time you do your 179th robbery, it will be guaranteed for you to get the Hyperchrome pretty much. So that's what this system is in place for. It basically is in place so that people aren't infinitely having to rob with the chance of not getting, you know, the Hyperchrome. Eventually your pity will rise, and then you will eventually be able to get it, guaranteed. So I'm glad that Asimo made these public so that it makes hyper grinding for you guys that want to grind hypers much easier. It even makes it a bit easier for myself, because I'm also been trying to grind Hyperchromes. I'm sure this helps out Jailbreak changelogs, because they have a Hyperchrome pity calculator on their website, and I'm sure that the numbers or the stats might have been off by a little bit. But now with this data here, I'm sure that they can go back and, you know, put the accurate numbers into their system so that their Hyperchrome calculator is up to date and the most accurate that it can be, which is huge. Somebody down here even replied and said mansion is 0.2 for every level. We always had believed it was 2 times the standard chances and not a flat rate for all levels. Wow. And Asimo said he had thought this as well. This means mansion is only really worth it for beyond level 2 and above. So I guess you could technically do mansion if you're trying to get a level 2, but it's not really going to be worth it unless you're trying to get level 3s, 4s, and 5s out of mansion. So if you guys are just doing normal grinding to try to get your level 1 through 2 Hyperchromes for all of them, I say just normally rob the, you know, the location that you need to do for each Hyperchrome. But then when you start getting to the level 3s, 4s, and 5s, it's recommended to do mansion, as it'll be a bit easier in your chances of actually pulling a Hyperchrome from there. Even though me personally, I've done mansion a bunch of times and my pity's only at like 15%. So I don't know how many times you actually need to rob mansion for, you know, that pity percentage to even show up. Asimo also asked this question Friday, right after he did his Q&A pretty much when it ended. He said, if Jailbreak did chapters, which chapter do you think Jailbreak would be on today? I missed this tweet. I definitely would have went over this in the previous video, but I definitely think Jailbreak will be on like chapter 2 or maybe chapter 3. I say chapter 3 because that means they could just have 10 seasons be a chapter itself. But I heard some people were saying chapter 2 and some people were even saying chapter 1. But this guy right here said can't have a new chapter without a new map, chapter 1 still. And Asimo said, but we're definitely not on the same map. I definitely agree with Asimo. I feel like the game definitely has progressed through chapters, because when I first started playing Jailbreak, guys, the Jailbreak map was literally like this big. It was not big at all. No power plant here. Like, it was all mountains. Once you left the criminal base, it would just be mountains. So like this whole side of the map was kind of chopped off and didn't exist. You know, there was no level 4 base up here. I'm pretty sure the museum back road didn't even used to come this way, because like I said, there was nothing to explore back here on this back half of the map. I'm pretty sure it used to just be like another mountain wall. And then obviously, you know, this whole entire crater side didn't exist. This tunnel used to just be like a black wall. When you used to just drive into it, you would just obviously crash, and it would send your momentum back the other way. So yeah, I definitely do think Jailbreak has progressed through chapters, as the game has literally grown so much over the last like almost 10 years. But I don't think Asimo would have tweeted that for no reason. I think he definitely might have tweeted this possibly for a certain reason. Maybe they're thinking about adding a chapter in front of the name Jailbreak, like, or Jailbreak chapter, you know, 3 or whatever at the end. Maybe for some kind of new update or something like that. Or maybe when AIP is done, he was thinking about, you know, giving Jailbreak an official chapter name. That would be kind of cool. But I feel like it might, you know, drive away some of the OG players or the vets, because it might be harder for them to actually find the game if they're returning to Roblox. I'm not really sure, but I definitely do like the idea of chapters. I do feel like this game has went through chapters, as it's been going on for quite some time now. And if you guys are wondering if Hyperchromes have been harder to get, this guy right here said, no, are they harder to get again? Asimo said no changes. Well, he just basically wanted to post what the people were asking for, which were the pity percentages, which is good to know. He didn't change any of the pities because that would be really bad, as I'm trying to grind for Hypershift currently. And coming up next is a continuation tweet from the Q&A. It basically was like a two-part question, but Asimo didn't understand the second part, so when they finally got back to him, he decided to respond to him last night, and this was the second part to their question. He said, also, would you ever host content creator tournaments or events in the future to get community involved in a different way? He basically was saying he wasn't sure if he followed, but then when the guy basically clarified what he was trying to say, he said, sorry, I meant like in the future, would you host like jailbreak tournaments that feature content creators, kind of like a jailbreak version of RB battles or something, or like a tournament with jailbreak players with arrests or bounties and the top players win prizes. He said, that's a cool idea. I've always wanted to do something where the winner receives 100 million cash. That would actually be sick if Asimo could do something like that, where you could get like all content creators, big or small, and we kind of just host like some kind of community event. That would actually be very fun and very interactive. It's another way to bring all the jailbreak communities together as one, because I know sometimes there's a lot of like different arguments and battles over who's better, and but I feel like at the end of the day, we're all a jailbreak community. We should all be like, close together and trying to share ideas and, and collaborate and do a lot of cool things together as a community. So I feel like this would be the perfect idea and a perfect way to get started with that. Asimo, if you're listening to this, I'm definitely would be down to do this. So if you want to, extend an invite my way, by all means, I would accept that. But this is definitely a good idea to do. Now we have some sad news. I don't know how I missed this from the Q&A, but I did see this in my Discord server, so I decided to just pull it up and we can go over it in today's video. But this guy basically said, would there be any chance of any F1 inspired or related car that could be added to the game? If possible, miss the MCL36, and pretty much it's one of the only other cars that he wants in the game. And Asimo said probably not. Scorp is your best bet, which kind of sucks. You guys know I'm super disappointed to hear that, because I really want an MCL36, and unfortunately it just looks like we'll never get anything close to that again. He said Scorp is the best bet, but I don't really think Scorpion is even close to our best bet, because Scorpion has the thrusters, which makes it like uncontrollable, and you can't really control like which direction you're driving in. You only really could go straight and make slight right and slight left turns. You can't make like sharp turns without, slowing down a whole bunch to get the thrusters to turn off. This kind of sucks, but I mean, I do understand that MCL36 was a part of a huge McLaren Formula 1 contract, so it'll be very difficult to, bring that back or even make it tradable. But the fact that he hasn't even said we could possibly be getting a new kind of racing collab in the future means that we might not even be getting any more of those, which kind of sucks. But I do understand, as Jailbreak is kind of at the second half of its lifespan, and there's other, bigger games that are getting more of the racing collabs, such as like Driving Empire. I know they just literally have like a Lego collab. I know they have a bunch of NASCAR sponsors in game and stuff like that. So it just seems like the more racing focused games are going to get the racing collabs and things like that. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to join my Discord server with the link in the description down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.